Right, everybody, I'm back and that, doing about the Punisher. Chuck Dixon, long-time Punisher creator Chuck Dixon, recently weighed in on the changes to Marvel Comics is making to Frank Castle, aka the Punisher. Yeah, and so basically Chuck saying they're turning the Punisher SOY, and he knows Marvel is doing the MCU and that. But shout out to Bound into Comics anyway for the article and that. So yeah, you can see that Frank Castle, aka the Punisher, in his 1990s sort of it could be 80s, but I think it's 90s. Kit up and that. Well, is going to be changed and that. So here we go. Marvel Comics recently detailed that Frank Castle will become the warlord of the Hand in a brand new series written by Jason Aaron. The official description states, after a shocking secret pushes him to become the warlord of the Hand, he now saves the Beast, a role he's been fated to fulfill. I can't even know the Beast was, but anyway, it's that SOY one sort of thing. So they added tragedy, war, and rage came together as he takes up his sword and his new armour with the most notorious clan of assassins in the Marvel Universe. Will it mean an end for the Punisher or a whole new bloody beginning? Well, obviously, it's the end, because the Punisher's like a one-man army and that, and so they're making him into a warlord, but along with Castle becoming the warlord of the Hand, they also changed his iconic skull logo, and he appears to have given up on using any kind of firearms, instead choosing to use a pair of swords. And yep, you can see here, yeah, he's got that new Punisher skull thing that looks really crap and that. It looks like the skull's got really big bushy eyebrows, and as you can see, he ain't got no guns. He's got swords now, and yeah, it looks really SOY because he's talking to a woman. So yeah, back to the icon. Yep. Dixon's comments regarding the Punisher came on his YouTube channel in Ask Chuck Dixon episode number 95, whilst responding to a question asked by Craig Welter. If it's true that Marvel really did change the Punisher symbol, which they did, because they don't like the kind of people who like it, example the police and military, because it's justice sort of thing. So the police and military like the Punisher because he's a soldier that does police justice. Well, anyway, then it begs the question, why do the people at Marvel hate their fans so much? Well, it's because they want them to be soy-head bitches reading fucking well, it wouldn't be Wonder Woman in this case. It'd be Marvel, wouldn't it? It'd be the Miss Marvel and Captain Marvel. Why would anyone at Marvel hire people that hate the fans? Well, that's because globalist commies that like want everyone to be soy-nerd little bitches. But anyway, hating and trying to annoy the fans of your characters seem like a terrible business strategy, asked Welter. Well, it is a terrible business strategy, but a real good propaganda strategy to make little soy-nerd bitches. But anyway, back to the article. Right, so Chuck Dixon, he responded with, "It kind of does, doesn't it?" As in, yeah, they are a bit of a dick, but they have contempt for the Punisher, this new crowd of editors. And we all know why. And quite frankly, when I was at Marvel writing Punisher in the 90s, there were quite a few editors who didn't like the Punisher. Yeah, soy-nerd bitches. They'd have been into their Wonder Woman comics, I reckon. But anyway, they sure like to have him show up in their books because it would increase sales. And obviously, yeah, the Punisher, especially back in the 90s, he was real. That's what it said, like getting big and that. But they didn't like him as a character, and Marvel didn't seek those kind of readers even then, he stated. Yeah, well, yeah, it has been going on for a bit, yeah, and so like in the 90s they probably wanted dudes to watch more Buffy the Vampire and Charlie's Angels, and it's like, oh no, we don't like them watching Punisher. But anyway, Dixon continued, "They certainly don't seek the kind of readers who would like the Punisher now." No, well, no, that stands for like Law and Order, innit? In addition to their contempt for the Punisher, I think this current crop of editors has a deep-seated dislike of the police and military. Yeah, unless the military is going to be invading Russia, and then they'll all be all for it. But so it's the old gang of deplorables things. They don't want to deal with them, and they don't like the idea that they use this symbol, and I think they don't quite understand why the police and military adopt the Punisher symbol. Yeah, well, I think they do, and so that's why they don't want the Punisher symbol, because it's like, holy shit, it's too masculine. They want you to be wearing the Captain Marvel symbol. But anyway, back to the article. Yeah, so Chuck went on to say, first of all, it's one of the coolest symbols in comics. I think it's right behind Batman and Superman. I think it beats Superman. Oh, yeah. And Spider-Man as one of the coolest symbols. It's iconic, and it also representative of badass. Yeah. And let's face it, Frank Castle is the biggest badass in the Marvel universe. He obliterated. He claiming, yeah, Frank Castle is one of the biggest badasses where he don't get messed around. Proper masculine, I ain't taking no shit sort of stuff. You could say, oh well, Wolverine. Well, Wolverine is particularly unkillable, so he can afford to be a badass, Dixon explained. Yeah. Where the Punisher is not so much. He is a self-made man, much like Batman. Batman, the biggest badass in the DC universe. Well, he's got the biggest badass toys, I'd say, but I'd still say the Punisher is the biggest badass. But they are both just average guys with the will to seek justice in their own way. Yeah. And so, yeah, he knows like Frank Castle's too masculine and too much of a badass for the people at Marvel to like him now. And Punisher is immensely killable, which he goes on to explain. It just means he's got loads of enemies. Everyone wants to kill him, but he's in danger every time he leaves the house. Sometimes he's in danger when he's at home because he's made so many enemies, Dixon explained. He continued, and so I think that what the police and military are looking at, that this is a badass symbol for a badass character. Some of them may not even be aware that the symbol goes with a comic character. I don't know. I reckon most of them will do, like, because they'll be like, oh yeah, it's a Punisher symbol. And so, but everybody's not into comics. Trust me. In fact, the vast majority of people are not. Well, yeah, they're not into buying comics, I don't think, as much. But they do know the comic characters because there's films and that. So, yeah, I think everyone will know that. But anyway, back to the article. Yeah, it's where Chuck lays into the fucking woke crowd. So he says, the woke crowd at Marvel are changing the symbol and changing Punisher's entire modus. He's carrying samurai swords now because they are embarrassed that they embrace to be associated with people who probably don't share their worldview, and that's really as simple as it gets, he detailed. Yeah, so probably what he's saying is like the woke crowd don't like guns, so the Punisher, he ain't having no more guns. Dixon then stated, and do they hate their fans? Well, yeah, except they've convinced so many of their fans into non-fans now, talking about the soy-head bitches who were like, oh look, it's Wonder Woman, and everyone says Wonder Woman's great, so I'll read some Wonder Woman comics. That's what I'm thinking, but obviously there's a few more. So back to the article. So many people who followed Marvel for years and years have stopped, have gone away. They've left comics or looking for some alternative to what Marvel is offering. Yeah, well, yeah, masculine action and that, I think he's saying, and that. Is it a bad business model? Of course it is. But generally, comic book companies, the big two in particular, are kind of clueless about their own readership. They don't know who is reading them. They don't reach out for new readers. They don't care to find out what their readers want in order to keep them reading. They stopped doing that 20 years ago, he asserted. Yeah, so end of the 90s was all like, right, fuck those people who want to see masculine action shit. Where want soy-head bitches reading Buffy. Black Widow, Wonder Woman. That's what I take from that anyway. But yeah, it's a long article this, but it's nearly done. But yeah, back to the article though. Yeah, so he goes on to say, it just seems to be, as I've said before, for these editors, it seems to be a stepping stone to some other kind of career. Comic books are not edited for the most part at the big companies by comic book lifers, which I was a bit confused, but he basically saying they don't give it to people who love comics and so that they can edit it with masculine action in. People who want to be comic book editors, yeah, he argued, they are done by people who want to be something else, somewhere else, and DC and Marvel comics look really cool on their resume. Oh, it says resume there, but it means their CV though, innit? But in the process, they're running the medium in America anyway, Dixon concluded. Yeah, so he basically saying the American media industry is run by a bunch of soy-head commie bitches. That's what I take from it. That's what I'm taking from it. Right, now this is the end bit, and it's a promotion for Chuck Dixon, because it says Dixon doesn't just criticise Marvel and DC comics, he also continues to create comics. He has a story in Graham Nolan's anthology book, giant size, two-fisted manly tales, that is currently crowdfunded on Indiegogo, which I'm going to put in a card thing, because I did an article on two-fisted manly tales and that, and he also has a growing library of comics available to read for free. Yeah, so there's a real good free promotion thing. That's on archeaven.com. I'll try and put a link into the archeaven.com, but I don't know. But anyway, they include a number of different stories from Alt Hero Q to My Sister Superman to Shade, which I don't know about them, but they're free to watch anyway. But anyway, thanks for watching. Cheers. Bye.